Okay, guys, hi. Welcome to Inkology's live stream. Let me get this going so I can see the chat. My name is Joshua Lamb. I am your artist, right? Today is a whole new day, so if you have your pen and paper, grab it and draw. And my dog is going to go get his real quick. Ooh. Ouch. Actually, today I'm going to be just doodling. I'm going to be doodling a little bit with some new pencils I got, kind of showing you how I break in my pencils. And, you know, when you get new stuff, you kind of want to like play with it and see how it feels. It also builds your creativity. But I also have a drawing I want to go through from a viewer, a supporter, who is trying to learn art, and he's a part of our Discord. And if you're not part of our Discord, definitely join. If you're a beginner, intermediate, or professional, you can be helping out others learn the craft as well as learning tips and tricks from all of us who are doing different things. We've got painters, we've got inkers, we've got pencilers, we've got digital artists. So it's great. We all kind of get a vibe for everything. We all enjoy the arts, and we're all trying to learn. You know, I'm not a professional. I work as an artist, but what is a professional? You know. My lighting is a little bit dark, so I apologize. Let me brighten it up, scoot some stuff over for the camera. And let's begin. I'm wearing a glove today because pencil gets on my hands and I just smear it everywhere. Plus, on top of that, I've ripped my fingernail, so I don't want to show that on camera. And yeah, is it in focus? That'll do. Hi, Krusty. Welcome. Okay, so before we begin drawing, well, let's introduce the pencils I'll be using. I'm using these Mars Lomograph Black Staedtler. Staedtler makes them. They German pencils. These are HB, 2B, 4B. These are all for darks and blending and shading and getting real realistic looks. They're not my hard pencils, but let's start with the HB. That's normal HB pencil, basic, ground zero, beautiful, good weight, nice. It's like a good cigar. Let's sharpen this thing though. I like sharpeners that have a longer point to them. I don't like it when they're like very. Ew. Well, this sharpener's done for. Hey, Randy. If you're in the chat and you're watching, this is going to be a great tutorial of how to get your drawings from A to B a little bit easier, especially if you're a beginner. I've been trying to work on actually a video teaching this process on a YouTube video, but I just don't have time to edit. That's my problem. And I'm a stickler for making posts like that. So live stream's easier for me to just teach. So if you have your drawing schedule or style that's not as where you want it to be, and you're like, why does it not look like the photo that you're drawing or something like that? I'm gonna kind of go over that real quick. Because I know where you're at. I've been there. I'm there half the time anyways. But there are techniques that will help you advance quite quickly, and it's actually more in the brain and not in your skill set. So yeah, that'll do. I don't have a tissue for some reason. I don't have any tissue here. Okay, so one of the artists on the channel, I asked him to do some portraits of people, to do the faces. Faces are always fun to work with because faces are going to be in literally almost everything that you draw, unless you're doing animals. But even that's a face, right? But if you're doing scenery and nothing with humans or creatures or any kind of, see, look at that. That's already, man, I got lead all over me. You're you're going to want to have accuracy on the face, right? You can get away with not being so accurate on trees and certain things like that, right? And organic objects of that nature. But when it comes to people and animals, you're going to want some accuracy. Now, I remember when I was younger, I would start out drawing and the eyes, always too far apart. Nose is always difficult, even to this day. And then you have like features like the lips and the mouth that just don't feel right. They don't have an expression to them. And if you're copying off a reference, sometimes it can get a little, you can just mix match different features because your brain is tricking you into thinking that this is the way to do it. Now, this is where you have to learn to separate yourself from your brain. Out of body experience, pull out, right? So here we go. I'm going to show you the drawing, the original drawing. So this is the original drawing, okay? And this young lady here is in black and white, which is great to work off of. You want to work with black and white if you're drawing in black and white because it just helps your brain not confuse shadows and stuff like that. You get to see things a lot better. Now, if you can see here, I'm going to use my pencil on the camera. She has, I wish I was in front of the image, but she's looking straight at the camera. Her eyes are very symmetrical. Pretty much she's symmetrical, except for her hair, which comes down longer on this side. But I want you to focus on not her face. Don't focus on her face. I want you to focus on her shape of her head. Not the hair, but inside the hair, where it's going down to her eyes and the side of the face on both sides. Ignore the hair. Imagine the hair doesn't exist. Now, what shape is that? It's not going to be an oval. It's going to be more of a square, more of a rectangle. So when we're drawing this, I'm gonna kind of go through this a little bit real quick for you, but that's where you want to start. You want to start with the simplicity of the basic outlines. The problem with the learning process is that when you look at an object and you want to copy it, you start imagining what a woman looks like or the man looks like, right? So what I would do when I was younger, I was I'd see this girl and I go, okay, she's a girl, so she's gonna have more of a V-shaped chin. I'm gonna smooth out her jawline. I'm gonna make her very smooth, right? Because that's what women are, smooth, right? That's what we think of when we're drawing. And then her eyes are gonna be big and glossy, and her eyebrows are gonna be this sharp, thin line. And I start in my mind making up things that when I'm drawing, they actually come out. But I'm not actually replicating the actual image. I'm actually I'm kind of tricking myself in my brain. So when the final image comes out, it doesn't look like the person that I'm trying to draw, because from A to B, from looking at that picture and then trying to draw that jawline or the face, I start putting in concepts that are not really there. And that's because we've looked at a million objects and people, and our brains are trained to kind of say, well, this is how I recognize somebody, and this is how I recognize somebody. This is how I recognize a woman. This is how I recognize a man, right? Like if you think of a man, you're going to think of a very rough, rigid jawline. Most of the time, it's going to be more of a square, right? And then women's not. But that's not the truth. That's not reality. Reality doesn't have those concepts because people look different all the way around. So we need to actually copy what we actually see. So it's important to draw from live. Like if you have someone sitting on the couch, drawing them from the couch in real life is better because your brain has to separate what you're trying to imagine and putting on paper than what is reality and putting on papers. Does that make sense? But if you're looking at a photo, you're just taking concepts and you're just kind of changing it. It's not as strong. And then if you have a drawing, then you're working from another drawing, then it's going to be even more strong than that. So let's practice this for a second. I want to show the image that he created first. Sorry, I got the sniffles all of a sudden. So this is his drawing right here. Now you can see that definitely did good. He definitely tried. But you can see where it started to fall apart. Oh, sorry, guys. It is the gloves. The gloves are giving me the sniffles. Oh, my God. But look at the jawline. Do you see how the jaw is different? Now, the hair at the top of the hair, there's a shape that starts to bow differently, right? But let's not worry about that. The forehead, he tried to get that in there. And then he's putting in details that he thinks he sees, right? Okay, see the right side of her face? Well, technically her left, but, you know, the right from our viewing. There's a divot right there. There's a divot right there. Now on her face over here, the divot is where her eyebrow is. That's where he put in the eyes a little bit too low. It would have been a little bit higher, right? Because the eyebrow is where that divot starts. The divot is the eyebrow muscle, right? And the from the eye to the eyebrow, that is the bend. All of us have it. Unless your eyes are not sunken in, like most of us, and bulging out, then it might not be there. And then you can see down here, the lips are looking good. The lips, you know, the edge of each lip is actually coming up towards the middle of the eye, which is fine. But the nose is slightly too far down. It needs to be up higher. But that's because the eyes are misplaced right off the bat. Now, the hair and the neck and all that stuff, we can work with that later. But the way I would go about this, and this is a good drawing. This is great for him to learn and study. He's making improvements, so that's fantastic. But let's work off this drawing real quick and see what we can do to kind of explain the process. I hope that's making sense, Randy, but and Krusty. But let's see. We're going to look at her. I need a picture of her, actually. Let me pull up a picture. The images are too far away. Oy. Okay, so what we're going to do... Let me get her in front of me. You always want to make sure that the image is... I don't know if I'm allowed to have this image of this music playing. I'm going to pause you and slide you off. I don't want any copyright issues. All right, here we go. Now, Lost in Retro, hey, welcome. So I'm going to replicate her. I'm going to start off with looking at her shadows from her face. So I'm going to draw, there's a sharp shadow here and on the left side. And then it comes out a little bit. And her face is like this, okay? We have this shape here. But let's draw a center line, because there's always got to be a center line. And then we'll put a center here. Okay? So how do I know how long her face should be and whatnot? That will come with a few erases. So you're going to need your eraser beside you. But this is the basics. I see her face as more of an angled down here, a straight across, right? And then this one has a much more bend. Don't draw the circle yet. And then we have it, you know, this bend here and it comes out. But this can be a straight line either way. And then her jawline comes down, but it's not super sharp. This one's a little bit higher, it looks like. And then we have a box chin. Now that doesn't look like, you know, that would look like a man's face if you're thinking in your mind drawing a character. Instead of drawing the smooth circle right away, we want to do this because later we can refine it. Once you've trained yourself to draw like this, your mind will skip this step. You know what I mean? You don't have to go to this step. You already understand it. You've done it enough so you know where you're training yourself. But because you're self-trained, sometimes if you're an artist, you're self-trained, you've learned by copying the wrong techniques of just progressing. And we're going to fix that. This technique has helped me go from beginner artist to literally professional, skipping intermediate over a few, pretty much, I would say even years, not even a few years, maybe a few months, because as an artist doing comic books and stuff, it's easier to point out those lines and stuff because you want the character you can kind of like manipulate. But realism's hard because there's a lot more accuracy needed. But we're going to fix that. Watch. So her jawline can be going up higher. And then we have a center. She's very symmetrical, so it makes it easier. Now, do I want to worry about the rest of her head? I can do that. I can start drawing this line to the top of her head and then thinking about how far that is. Now, the ways you want to measure it is by taking an object or a finger, a ruler if you have it. But what I like to do is just use my finger and see how much. See, like, so for example, if she is here, this distance from here to here should be to the bottom of her eye, right? Okay. So this would be the bottom of her eye, right here. I'm just using a random tool because I'm just trying to show you can use anything. But to tell you the truth, yeah, that should be fine. Because her nose bridge starts here. And then you've got roughly the eyes coming out here. So, and then we'll do this. Remember, the bottom of the eye is usually not so round as the top of the eye. The top of the eye is usually more round. But also, the eyes are one eye apart from each other. Okay? Always remember that. Unless they're unique kind of people and they have a little bit further, they're different. Now, when you're drawing, don't look at this image and go, oh, it's not looking like I want it to look right away. It has to come together. It's going to take time to come together. What's up, Spot? Welcome to the channel. Sorry for my sniffles today. I'm wearing a glove, so I'm allergic to it, or allergies or something. So, remember, this part right here is where the eye starts and comes up. So you can adjust it, and then we can start getting this eyebrow in if you want, and then it comes down. Because this is where the head comes in. Now the nose. How far is the nose? Let's see. Let's use my pinky. The nose comes down. The tip of the nose is at the top of the eye. I mean the bottom of the eyebrow. Let's just zoom in. Let's just fix this. Okay, so it's like a forehead length. So it's about the forehead length. And we're going to say it's right about here is where the nose will start coming down. Okay. And then the side of the nose will hit the center of this eye right here. I mean the teardrop area. Okay. And then don't worry about it. Now the lip from this part here, the mustache, you know, the Charlie Chaplin, that is roughly, I think it's, what's the measurement for that? Well, the chin is a little bit longer, but it's fine. We'll just go a little bit lower. We know the distance a little bit from the hair. The lips, which he did a good job, the artist who I just showed his art there, he did a good job measuring that one out because it comes about midway through the eyeball. Then, but the lips don't actually, the top lip never makes it to the edge. It's always the crease that makes it there, right? And for females, they definitely have fuller lips, so always remember that. And then we're going to come down, bring that here. Now her eyes, she's looking like a statue figure right now. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, yeah, you're right. 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2. No capture. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Is that better? Is that a little bit better? Hello. 1, 2, 3. Hi, guys. Is that better? Let's go a little bit higher. That way I don't have to. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, if I get any louder, it's going to peak. I think it's going to peak. All right, is that better for you guys? For my audio? It should be a little bit better. I'll speak louder too. Okay, so now that we have her face in here somewhat, we can see that the chin could be a little bit. It's going to get more round, right? And we're going to also draw this line in here because her face isn't perfectly square, but we're using the square idea to figure out how to get proportions right. And then she comes up, and you can see her cheekbone is right here, slightly, ever so slightly. And then it comes smoothly, and then we can smooth out this chin here. And now she's becoming more of a female look. Yeah, okay. So the eyes right now are not looking accurate. That's because I'm drawing at an angle. This sucks. But what we do know is where we know where they're located. So we're going to go ahead and draw the oval thing, but keeping space from here and here because you can see space on her eye there. You don't want them too large. Anna Taylor, whatever her name is. Okay. And then this should be one eyeball apart, so maybe start here, and then we come up. And her eye is not a perfect circle. It's going to have a straightness to it at the top, and then come back down. And it kind of disappears into it. So this is where you have to train your mind to not just predict what the person or character is going to look like, but actually draw what you see. You don't see her full circle of her pupils, right? But you do get a lot of it. And then for here, I should have drawn the the eyelashes first. And then you're going to draw this. It comes down. This eye is a little bit bigger than the other. That's fine. Some people have that. I know I do. One of my eyes is much bigger than the other one. Human defect, I guess. Or maybe I just, one eye sees better. And then you can draw the wrinkle, but we want to go straight to the eyebrow because the eyebrow is another proportion detector, and you can just kind of put that in there. It's about half the thickness of the eye. Okay. There we go. So we can see here that she's coming together. And she's doing pretty good. Okay. Now, obviously her chin looks very blocky, and you're wondering, well, Josh, that doesn't look right. That's fine. That's actually absolutely 100% because that's what the eraser was designed for. We just need to get our proportions right. Without the proportions, it doesn't even matter if you draw the perfect chin right away because things are not going to line up. Okay? Let's see if I can get this on camera. Hey, Chris. Welcome, welcome. So for her chin, let me see. Am I blocking my camera? Hold on. Can't see the glare. Okay, and then you can start adding some details to help her face come together. And because it's just her face, she doesn't look like the picture. But once we add the hair, which I think the hair should be a little bit taller. So this is where you want to, let's see, from here to here is about how far? So we're doing about this distance. one of the biggest issues of drawing, and especially copying portraits, is that you have to train yourself not to you don't want to start rendering your drawing right away. You want to take your time on getting the proportions right and getting everything kind of built out first. Step by step is always the best. I mean, unless you understand drawing very well, most people don't start off with just rendering out their drawing to be perfect looking, right? They can do it for fun, but a lot of the times it comes out very rough. Okay. In which it's not what you want. Now for her face, it does look a little blocky and looks a little bit low. So what I can do is change the angle of her jawline. Where does her jaw begin? Above her lip, it looks like. So that's where I was going wrong. I'm just going to small point. It begins to curve right here. Come up to above her chin. And this. Okay. See. So the rest of her, even though she looks kind of skinny faced, it's because I haven't put in the shadows yet, which interpret the thickness of her face. It's looking kind of indigenous right now, with a lot of heart like features like this. I can't see, there's a glare. Okay. And then we can throw the neck in there, coming at an angle, not a perfectly straight down line. And then right at the end of her lip here. Comes together. Let me zoom out. Collarbone is at the edge of her hair, so okay. Okay. Where's my comments? Let's see. Do you ever use an eraser shield? I can hardly function drawings without mine. What's an eraser shield? No, I just use the eraser and then erase the junk that it leaves behind. What's up, Garza? Pierre here saying, what's up? Oh, what's up? Okay. So, she's looking longer faced. That's because all the shadows are not put into place. She has some shadows here that will help out with that. Let's see. Start shading in some stuff. Sorry. She's got these scary eyes. Okay. And this is when you can start actually rendering your drawing, and it's going to come out looking like her more. Now, she's not going to look 100% because I'm going through this very fast, but she's got the look. She's got the look. And of course, she has that flowing hair, so it automatically will. Joni has a good point. Taking them in stages is always good. Okay. And then you can keep refining her chin, areas that you think are not accurate quite yet, and building her out to be the girl you want her to be. Now, like I said, I went through this pretty quick, but I hope that the basics of taking a drawing makes much more sense for you, those who are trying to use this technique. Obviously, there will be some learning curve on this. Okay. And pull her chin in a little bit more. The chins are always the hardest, but what we do not want is to just imagine whatever we imagine and then start drawing from there. Okay? Because we do that, we start making up stuff that isn't actually the person's characteristics, and can hinder your drawing in the long run because, well, you put a lot of effort into it, and at the end, you're like, well, crap. Okay, now she is not looking right on my drawing. Let's see if that's better. No, she's still not. I just need to render her out. Let's render this girl. Sometimes it's just the eyes where they're not focused on the original position. Too many harsh lines, not enough shading, accurate shading can do that too. Hey, chill out. When I was learning oil painting, Scott Waddell, the teacher I was learning from, who has a great YouTube channel as well, he was drawing. He draws straight from the shadows, and honestly, I was like, half the time when he was drawing, the beginning phases of his drawing did not look anything like the character at all. Like, I was like, what are you drawing? I don't even see what you're drawing. And then, of course, because he's drawing from shadows first, you don't see it, and then next thing you know, he just puts in a few more lines, and then you're like, oh, that's where he's coming from. And it's very, very square. He does a very like square drawing, kind of very blocky, you know what I mean? The paper, I don't know. It's just something from a journal. It's like this toned paper I use for some of my mythology and religious drawings. I like it because it's small and it's nice to just pump out stuff on it. A little bit textured. It's got a little bit of a grit to it. An eraser shield is a drafting tool. It's usually smaller, thin metal square. Oh, maybe I've seen it. I just don't use it. I think I know. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Right. Yeah. So I don't know why on camera her face looks way longer. I'm not really sure why that is. It could be because of her nose is too long. Could be a nose thing. Could be a nose thing. Could be a mouth and nose thing. So let's try again. Doesn't hurt to keep trying. That's the beauty of penciling. Where you fail, you try again. So let's lift up her nose ever so much. Get that little nice nose ring in there. And then light shadow, much more harsh shadow here. There, and then we'll drop down that nose thing here. Her lips. I'm not perfect, just to let you know. I am not a perfect artist. Oh, really? I'll have to check out that. Really, I didn't know that was a eraser shield. Interesting. So her lip is not, comes out a little bit. We give her a little mustache on accident. This pencil is not sharp. My other eraser. I have a hard eraser, but oh, here it is. Also, don't forget that erasing the tool could be what creates your highlights, which helps a lot more than trying to draw in your highlights. You know what I mean? So, for example, whenever I'll show you in a second. She looks like she's looking off to the left. That's because I ran through the process too quick. Darn it. I'm butchering this drawing right now. This was not my intent to go through this drawing until like a few minutes ago. I was like, you know what? Let's see if I can get this a little bit, help out a little bit. Okay. Either way, it could be the proportion of her eyes or not. No, they're supposed to be that way. I think the issue is I just need to shade her in more. Get my shading in, and then it fills out her face. Don't call me right now. But he's trying to call me. If he knew better, he'd be following me on YouTube and knowing that I'm on live stream. But no, watch him try to call again. I'm supposed to be pushing out a board game this month, but I'm honestly way too busy. Been selling some cards though. Okay, there we go. So she's looking a little bit better, looking more accurate. A lot more shading, and she'll be fine. Let's see. Of course, they come in different sizes. Yeah, I've seen them in different types: architectural, mechanical engineering. Okay, okay, guys, done with her drawing. Hopefully this makes sense when you're doing portrait drawings, that you will take the image and start squaring up different parts of the character beforehand or during it, that you kind of line up everything. The eyes can be a tool, but try to use the outside of the face first and the chin and area to get the basic shape. Her basic shape is more of this rectangular look. And then you can start cutting in the shape of her face, more and more as you go. And don't be afraid to erase. That's one of the biggest things, is that if you make mistakes, which you will make mistakes, to erase. That's why people use grid lines, right? They will always use, when they want to do a perfect portrait of somebody, a lot of the times you'll see artists using grids on their image, right? And then that way they can know exactly where the character's positioned at and stuff like that, because they can line it up to the grid perfectly. So if you want to do that way, you can. I don't like the grid. I think it doesn't help my muscles and my brain actually learn how to see an object for what it is, see the shadows where they're at. I think it is so reliant on perfect proportions due to the distance on the grid. If it's a client that wants it, sure, you can do it, because obviously they want perfection. And if you're shooting for perfection, it's not cheating to use a grid at all. But let's just say you're doodling and you want to draw something. This is the easiest way for me at least, to draw something and get it most accurate. I want to flip here. So the shape of the chin, it looks like Randy. Don't know if he did this or not. That you drew it in probably last. Is this right? Or did you start with the eyes? Is that what you started with? I would like to know. Because it feels like, because the proportion of the bend on the eye here, right? So this should have been higher. The eyebrow should have been a little bit higher, and it should have come down and then comes back out. And then, yeah, so this is the area that you can use as a reference when you start drawing. I would say that she started out this way. She had a lot more blocky chin, and which she still may actually have a blocky chin. Well, no, that's about right. But, you know, I see where you did really good on trying to get it there. I think this is where you went up. You kept on going because I think you wanted to have that round chin. You just kept on going up while missing out on this angle here that goes straight down. But these are techniques you can put into play to help you out about your proportions. Okay. That's that. What am I doing? Hopefully that was a good little tutorial for you guys. I know that was kind of a rough drawing, real kind of brutally rough. Not even 100% proportionate too. But I do recommend looking at the shadows for help. I did a video on the Discord on the iPad of how to get proportions and stuff right too. You can check that out. I have it unlisted on my Instagram, on my YouTube. I didn't publicly do it because I just recorded off my, iPad. Really terrible sound. Yeah, so how did this person send you a pic on Instagram? They didn't send me a pic on Instagram. It was on our Discord, and I just downloaded it and then used it. So, okay. I wanted to test out these pencils and see how they work. So far, they work pretty good. I would like a little bit sharper, though. Let's see what time it is. It's almost 3 o'clock. About 30 minutes to sketch something fun. Nice. Well, what should I sketch up? Anybody got any ideas for something I could sketch? Get creative. Let's see. What could I draw? Got any prompts for me, guys? Okay. I'm going to give you about a minute to, or less than a minute to tell me something random. Oh, do you, Cave Krusty? Use the same process as techniques as mechanical drafting. A mech warrior. A mech warrior. Battletech. Battletech it is. Thank you, Krusty. My favorite hat. Got it in Japan. It's actually Spanish, but it's in Japan for some reason. I'm just drawing what I think as like a mech warrior character. Just envisioning, something. I used to watch a lot of Patlabor anime. Not Gundam. Actually, for some reason, I didn't get into Gundam. Appleseed. I was big into Appleseed. And then let's see, who else was there? Neon Genesis Evangelion. I love that. I love that vibe. You know what I mean? I love the mech stuff. It's like it's rad in every single way. The guy, like a guy who can control. Like, here's the cockpit. You know what I mean? He's just sitting there, like controlling this gigantic piece of armor. Usually some young kid somehow is in control of a gigantic piece of machinery, which makes no sense. Definitely not safe. And an emotional kid at that, usually. Gundam is an anime. Well, they have games and stuff like that, right? So I used to play the games. They're all right. I wish I was better at drawing like mechs and tech warrior stuff. I think it's always such a cool thing to see. I love the animes. I love, I love pretty much anything about these characters and stuff. But I am not that good with like angles and sharp objects in a sense. Like I can't really draw cars. You know, I've drawn cars a few times and I hate everything about it, just because I can't really do it. You know, it's a very difficult thing to wrap my head around. Yeah, this is kind of like a Pacific Rim, isn't it? Well, no, Pacific Rim is up in the head, I think, isn't it? This is more of what's the center chess piece characters? Kind of like anime does a lot of center chess piece mech warriors. I guess it kind of, it has the structure of a human body, but that's most of them. I mean, you could do like, the RoboCop bad guys, the mech warrior, where it's just like he has like a little helper guy down here who's just a two-legged character, right? Kind of a mech. You know what I mean? Like these little guys. Yeah, it's sort of a fusion. The head's got the smoother roundness to it. I mean, I have no idea what I'm drawing, honestly, but just doodling. You said mech warrior. He's pretty mechy. Always make him a little bit thicker too. So that's what I would be doodling, and then let's try out some of these other pencils. Let's see. Try a 7B, freaking dark. Dark, dark, dark. The movie Million Years Ago wasn't a model after a game Battleship. Oh, no, very different movies. Okay, let's see. Let's start instead of rendering him in, right? Ooh, look how dark that is. It's nice. I like how dark this is. This is beautiful. Oh man, this is a smooth lead. The reason why I got these were to do realism portraits. I wanted to do a realistic portrait of my family members. So it was like I needed something that was smooth and very blended well. And they said that the Lumograph Black Mars are one of the better ones. And I see why, because this stuff is like, it rolls on the paper just beautifully. That is nice. That is very nice. That's a nice dark too. Like the lead is just smooth. Not bad. I like this pencil. It's feeling good. It's feeling good. Look at that dark lines. I can just switch my pen around. Ooh. Ooh. It is so satisfying. Spot, you live under a rock? Well, hopefully it's a nice rock though. You know what I mean? I like this pencil. Oof. Like, kind of turns me on. Hopefully that didn't creep you all out. I got to work the Inside Out, event at the theater yesterday, and they had like Sadness was on there, and I got to take a photo with Sadness. That was fun. But it was a fun little catering event. All these YouTube influencers and people were there kind of just eating, and they got to see the movie a day before it comes out today. So that was cool. I think I recognized one person, but I don't know where I recognized them from. Very fun, very cool. Easy little gig I had to take care of. Get some battle damage on this bad boy. Always like these grids, you know. In animes, they put these like grid shapes on like their characters, like kind of says like, hey, this thing you can look through this glass kind of thing. Fancy that design. It's like these octagon looking shapes or hexagons. Yeah, 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 yeah. We're gonna. I think I only have enough time to render out one head. I mean, just the head. But it's fun to see what these pencils can do. They're so soft, so nice. Hmm. So, what pencils do you guys use? Yeah, the honeycomb pattern. You use Faber-Castell, Staedtler. Or Stradler, sorry. Got this nice jazz music going on. Cranking my neck. Okay. Looking good. the rendering process is nice with these pencils. See how the 4B turns out. Ooh, just broke that off. Nice and smooth. I like this pencil too. The 4B's nice. Keeps the sharp edge a little bit longer. Gives me really nice lines in here. All right. I respect the Japanese. You know what I mean? Like they draw these like mech warriors, and then they actually build them out. Kind of like if you go to Tokyo or something, you can, or I don't know where the Gundam is. They actually built a life-size Gundam, and it actually walks and stuff. It's huge. It's like, man, that's the love of the game. You know what I mean? That's rad. Being able to like, oh, have the whole country be like, yeah, let's invest in a mech warrior because we're such fans. You know, like, we don't do that here. In America, we're like, unless it benefits me on a financial level, let's not do it. But, like, Japanese are like, I'll give all my money to help you guys fund an actual Gundam that maybe not really fights, but at least looks dope. I'm like, what? I guess we did with, like, our Disney theme parks, but, you know. Not the same. Not the same kind of love that the Japanese have for their anime. It's almost 3:30. In which I'll have to be getting off shortly. Get ready to go to work. But hopefully this live stream was helpful for those looking to improve their proportions and portraits. It is a practice you have to do, so don't expect that that technique will teach you perfectly right away. It's something that you're gonna have to train your brain. It's really about training your brain to not see what your mind is trying to put out, but what you actually see. You know, the lines and everything, the actual angle of the line. Where does this line go? And then matching them up, keep on matching and making sure you're drawing to proportion, not based off of your imagination, but rather off of accurate references. Because after you get done with the references, and you've met that criteria of like, knowing where these things should be, then when you do use your imagination, it's much easier for you to not make those mistakes that you've made in the earlier time when you were drawing. And though my example was not 100% a very good example, but you get the idea. That'll take you further than I think anything else I've ever learned in my art career, is to separate your brain from your artistic desires. Unless you're drawing from imagination and you want a more abstract look, sure. But if you're trying to replicate something, then you're going to need to, actually portray it accurately. Zen drawing. Like, is that like flow state? I like to get in the flow state. That's my favorite. When you're in the flow and you're just really pumping out art because you're seeing it for what it is, and you're like imagining all this cool stuff, and it's coming out looking great because you love the character, you love the look of it. Makes me want some ramen noodles right now. Like Japanese ramen, like a bowl. Mm. It's about drawing. Spot says it's about drawing what you see, not necessarily what you're about to, what you know about the subject. Oh, yeah, exactly. Draw what you see, not what you know about the subject, and that's pretty good. Yeah, because it's hard. It's very difficult to untrain yourself to do that. And I was forced to learn it because I had a friend who was asking me to do a portrait for of her mom, and it was like a yellowish tone, sepia tone portrait, and I hadn't drawn in so many years, so I was like, oh man, I haven't done realism in some time, but I know the fundamentals, but then I didn't trust myself going into it because it's been so long for me to draw, and this was just a couple of years ago, and or drawing like that, and yeah, I had to do this master oil painting class to figure out how they got these perfect proportions on their oil paintings, and they taught me that, and I was like, what the hell? Like, I learned this tutorial, that idea right there taught me more than all my art school classes I've ever learned in my entire life, or art classes I've ever taken. Like, none of my teachers taught me that. None of them. they teach you like the Loomis head and stuff like that, and using shapes. But shapes don't really, I never found them to work for me. Now they help they've helped to draw like easy characters, I guess, but then drawing each shape and then making it a 3D shape in order to create your characters and stuff is just not like, to me, doesn't make much sense. So I do the doodle technique, and the doodle technique gets me way further because I'm getting everything I see in my head right out on the paper, and then I can go and add those shapes and add form and all that kind of stuff, which is, fine. But the teacher I had that taught me this, he was showing like, oh yeah, I'm squinting my eyes, I'm looking at the shadows and drawing the shadows in, because the shadows will give me a structure to build everything else off of. And I was like, what? So then I tried it and I was like, oh my gosh, like it's game changer. Like I don't have to worry about my proportions being out of whack so easily. Like they might become out of whack a little bit, but for the most part they're like almost perfect. So it's a very good technique that I think artists need to really learn. Help out a lot. So okay, guys, we're almost done. Drawing this little character here. Okay. This is just a little play around to see what these pins can do. My little mech warrior here that you guys asked me to draw. Not a complete thing. Just having fun. Yeah, just fun. Just fun stuff. It's always good to get used to your pencils and see what they can do, because then you can start imagining what you can do with your pencils, which is a lot more fun. All right. So, hey, I hope this live stream was good. I appreciate you guys joining. Thank you. If you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe to the channel. That'd be great. We also have a Discord where you can join. It's lots of fun. And you can join me on Instagram, of course. And I have a Patreon. Support me that way. You just get a little bit more personal stuff there. Some tutorials whenever I put them out. Early access to videos and some other stuff. So I'll be putting out another video soon for the Patreon supporters. Thank you, Rami Salami, for supporting me. And another gentleman, which I should say their name, but I just don't remember their names. Oh man, Austin Ray. Thank you very much. And yeah, remember the tutorials. that I taught earlier in this video, as well as these. If you're looking for really good pencils, I'm already going to say that these are fantastic. The Staedtler Mars Lumograph, these are really nice. Really enjoy the way they roll on paper and the way they just kind of, they're soft, and yet you can make them hard, get those harsh lines. And I will see you guys next Tuesday. So if you're creative, go create. Thank you guys for doing art. There needs to be more artists out there, and you guys are all amazing. And keep it up. I'll see you all soon.